Hello guys, I am Revamonte, BSA 1A, and for today, gagawa ko ng pen and paper video about mega theater, which is problem 4. So let's start. Alice Virgil opened the mega theater by investing cash of 500,000 on December 1, 2020. The following transaction took place during December. So, tingnan natin ang transaction worksheet niya. Effect. There is an increase in asset, particularly cash. No effect sa liability and increase in equity. Ang journal entry niya is on December 1, 2020, cash 500,000, Virgil's capital also 500,000. Short explanation. Investment of owner. Next. Purchase the equipment used by Cine Theater, which was closed down by the government. Terms: 200,000 down balance covered by 1-year promissory notes for 300,000. So, tingnan natin ang effects sa transaction worksheet. There is an increase in asset, particularly equipment, decrease in asset, particularly cash, and also increase in liability, particularly notes payable, and no effect sa equity. And ang journal entry niya is on December 3, 2020, equipment 500,000, cash 200,000, notes payable 300,000. Short explanation. Purchase equipment. Next. Sign a contract of lease with Alabang Realty, gave a deposit of 100,000 for rent. So, tingnan natin ang effect. Effect niya is there is a decrease in asset, particularly cash, no effect sa liability, and increase in equity. Ang transaction journal entry niya is on December 4, 2020, rent expense 100,000. Cash also 100,000. Short explanation. Deposit, cash for rent. Next. Paid cash of 15,000 for advertising the theater and for the purchase of billboard. Effect niya sa transaction worksheet. There is a decrease in asset, particularly cash, no effect sa liability, decrease in equity, particularly advertising expense. Ang journal entry niya is on December 5, 2020, advertising expense $15,000 cash, also 15,000. Short explanation, paid advertisement. Next, furnitures and fixtures worth $150,000 were constructed by Engineer Gonzalez, gave a 50% down payment balance to be paid within 90 days. So, kukunin natin yung 50% ng 150,000. Ito. 150,000 times 0.5. 75,000. Effect niya, there is an increase in asset, particularly furnitures and fixtures, and also decrease in asset, particularly cash, increase in liability, particularly accounts payable, and no effect sa equity. Journal entry niya is on December 6, furnitures and fixtures, $150,000, cash 75,000, accounts payable also 75,000. Short explanation, constructed furnitures and fixtures. Next is open the theater with gala premiere that brought in cash receipt of 20,000. Tingnan natin ang effect niya sa transaction worksheet. There is an increase in asset, particularly cash, no effect sa liability, and increase in equity, particularly service revenue. Ang journal entry niya is on December 8, 2020, cash 20,000, service revenue also 20,000. Short explanation, receive, cash, receipt. Next, additional cash receipt for the week, 14,500. Effect niya is There is an increase in asset, particularly cash, no effect sa liability, and increase in equity, particularly service revenue. Ang journal entry niya is on December 11, 2020, cash 14,500. Service revenue also 14,500. Short explanation, receive, cash receipt. Next. Receive a bill for 15,000 from LVM Production for rental of films. Effect niya sa financial transaction worksheet is no effect sa asset, increase in liability, particularly accounts payable, decrease in equity, particularly rent expense. Ang journal entry niya is on December 12, 2020, rent expense 15,000. Accounts payable also 15,000. Short explanation, received a bill from LBM Production. So, next page na tayo dahil hindi kasya sa likod, sa harap rather. Next transaction is list out part of the lobby for the operation of a canteen at a monthly rental of 7,500. So, ito ay no entry kaya hindi na natin siya isasama. Next na tayo sa kasunod. Cash receipt for the week 15,000. Effect niya is there is an increase in asset, particularly cash, no effect sa liability, and increase in equity, particularly service revenue. Ang journal entry niya is 2020 December 18. On December 18, 2020, cash 15,000. Service revenue also 15,000. Short explanation, receive, cash receipt. So next, paid 1,500 for taxes and license. Tingnan natin ang effect niya sa transaction worksheet. There is a decrease in asset, particularly cash, no effects sa liability, and decrease in equity, particularly taxes and license expense. Ang journal entry niya is on December 19, 2020, taxes and license expense 1,500. Cash, 1,500. Short explanation, paid taxes and license. Next, paid 10,000 to LVM production. So, ang effect niya is decrease in asset, particularly cash, decrease in liability, particularly accounts payable. No effects sa equity. Ang journal entry niya is on December 23, 2020, accounts payable 10,000. Cash, also 10,000. Short explanation, paid for LVM production. Next, cash receipt for the week 14,750. Ang effect niya sa transaction worksheet, there is an increase in asset, particularly cash, no effect sa liability, and increase in equity, particularly service revenue. Journal entry niya is on December 25, 2020, cash 14,750. Service revenue also 14,750. Short explanation, receive, cash receipt. Next, 26. Made a partial payment of 15,000 for the account owing to Engineer Gonzales. Ang effect niya is there is a decrease in asset, particularly cash, and also decrease in liability, particularly accounts payable, and no effects sa equity. Ang journal entry niya is December 26, 2020, accounts payable 15,000. Cash, also 15,000. Short explanation, made a partial payment to Engineer Gonzales. Next, Build paid Meralco 8,000 and Manila Water 1,500. Tingnan natin ang effect niya sa transaction worksheet. There is an decrease in asset, particularly cash. No effect sa liability, decrease in equity, particularly utilities expense. And journal entry niya is on December 27, 2020, utility expense $9,500. So, bakit naging 9,500? Kasi, pinag-plus natin yung 8,000 and 1,500. Cash, also 9,500. Short explanation, paid bills for utilities expense. Next. Virgil made a cash withdrawal of 5,850. Effect niya is there is an decrease in asset, particularly cash. No effect sa liability, decrease in equity, particularly Virgil withdrawal. Ang journal entry niya ay on December 29, 2020, Virgil withdrawal. Withdrawal 5,850. Cash also 5,850. Short explanation, withdrawal of owner. Next, 30. Receive a bill from Viva Production for rental of films, 25,000. Effect niya is no effect sa asset, increase in liability, particularly accounts payable, decrease in equity, particularly rent expense. Ang journal entry niya ay on December 30, 2020, rent expense $25,000. Accounts payable also 25,000. Short explanation, receive bills from Viva Production. Next. So, dalawang entries ng December 31, ang last entries natin. Receive the amount due from the canteen operator, 3,750. Use the title list income. Connected siya dito sa 16, which is list out part of the lobby for the operation of a canteen at a monthly rental of 7,500 pero ang binayad lang niya is, ang na-receive lang niya ay 3,750, which is kalahati lang ng monthly rental. And kasunod ay paid 12,000 for salaries and wages. So ito ang kanyang effect. There is an increase in asset, particularly cash, and also decrease. No effect sa liability, and increase in equity, particularly lease income, and decrease in equity, particularly salaries and wage expense. Ang journal entry niya ay, so gamit na tayo ng ibang papel kasi hindi na kasya. So lagay muna natin date, PR, debit, credit. In 2020, December 31. On December 31, cash 3,750. Lease income also 3,750. Salaries and wages expense 12,000. Cash also 12,000. Short explanation: receive this income and paid salaries and wage expense. And dito na nagtatapos ang ating transaction. Sana ay naging malinaw ang paliwanag ko, and natuto kayo, and thank you sa panonood.